Our tech team, are you okay with the session? Thank you. All right, so distinguished guests, esteemed panelists, honorable faculty members, my dear colleagues from the administrative units, and our beloved students, I would like to request all of you to take your seats, and we'll be starting off with our next session within a few minutes. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back from our lunch, and I welcome you all to the first panel discussion after the lunch break. The theme being energy efficiency, a key enabler for decarbonization. So, a few words about this theme. To enable efficient global value chains and the lowest cost deployment of low carbon energy technologies, trade and investment policies must be supportive. The cost of capital for renewable energy investments is commensurate with the risk and can often be substantially higher in developing countries than in the developed countries. National policies, legal safeguards, and the international financing mechanisms that reduce the risks and therefore lower the cost of capital investments in low carbon energy technologies can boost investments. Trade facilitation can also contribute by eliminating or reducing tariff and non tariff barriers to international trade in low carbon energy. The efficient classification of environmental goods is crucial for the trade facilitation of these technologies. The Sustainable Energy Trade Initiative Alliance is one coalition working to enable the development and deployment of clean energy technologies through free trade. As new global and regional bilateral trade agreements are created, the options to create free trade of low carbon energy technologies need to be considered and included. So, with these few words, I would like to humbly request our keynote presenter of this session, Mr. Zahir Ahmed, the Director, Schneider Electric Bangladesh, to come up on stage and say a few words. Sir, please, we're delighted to have you on.
So, thank you, Mr. Islam. So, thank you again, distinguished guests and beloved students here, and thanks for your presence. I saw a lot of attendee now in this session. So, I will just quickly go through the sustainability, which is an urgent need for the planet now, and which is one of the most, I think, the talking point in the world. They who are just seeing the news, that are seeing the disasters in Spain, in Germany, and everybody is now talking about this sustainability. And there is just a COP27 in Egypt just completed, and there also, a lot of topics has been discussed on sustainability. So I will just go through why the sustainability things are required for our planet, number one, and number two, how we can achieve it, and how the Schneider Electric is, can be a partner for this sustainability journey in the planet. So with that, we also know that just 100 years back, when the fossil fuel has been invented, I think from then Since then, we are in the age of fire, and there is a lot of industrialization development was there last 100 years. And with the population growth also in a huge way, if you just see, there is two things has been developed last 100 years. The mass industrialization, because of the fossil fuel steam engines, that the lot of technology uh, which are invented last 100 years. And consequently also our population growth is also increasing, and mostly in the urban area, if you see. So but that development has actually came at a cost. So this is what we are experiencing now in the world. We never saw a flood in Germany in 100 years, right? So we saw that then in Spain, the kilometers and kilometers are burning. You see that, because of the extreme change of the temperature. And we will see the extreme low temperature also in this winter. You can see that. So there is a for extreme high and extreme low temperature is happening due to this the development, I can say. So if I just ponder for just 1 second that why this is happening, and who is the responsible for this climate disaster. You can think about it just for 1 second, and mostly I think I can tell that everybody will agree with me that the energy is the most responsible for this climate disaster. Almost 80%. 80%, I can say. 80% is responsible for the energy in our for our greenhouse, the impact. So carbon dioxide is the major greenhouse gases what we are emitting, into our planet. So as I just told that 80% of the energy is actually responsible for the carbon dioxide emission. And where there is another trend you can see from here, if I just put the pointer, 40 times more energy will be consumed by 2100 if we don't take any actions. And out of this energy, what we are using now, 60% of the energy is, just going for waste, is a system loss. This is one part, and another part. If you just see, there is a agreement. I think in COP 21, I should say COP 21 or COP 15. I just forgot in the Paris COP. Huh? Okay, there is a pledge. Actually, everybody has signed. Okay, to go uh, to 2 degree Celsius. But now it is not sufficient. Also, we just need to by 2030. We just need to limit our temperature by 1.5 degrees Celsius. And if we don't do this, then you just see on the top, if there is no climate policy, then the temperature will be increasing 4 to 5 degrees Celsius from now, what we have. And this is an average temperature. Please remember it. This is not the temperature like, 21 plus 4. In some area, that would be more than 10 degree also. And with the current policy that we have, we can go up to 3.1 to 3. We can limit our temperature 3.1 to 3.7 degrees Celsius max. And with the pledge that we have done in the COP, that is 2.6 to 3.1. But our pathway should be limit to 1.5 degree Celsius. So this is one of the main the message that I just wanted to share with the students also here, that we just need to limit our temperature 1.5 degree. And how we can limit to 1.5 degrees Celsius, there is the technology that we have exists now with us, with the energy consumption. If we can reduce our energy consumption by 3 times, then only we can, that go to this limit is actually 1.5 degrees Celsius. And this is the equation. This is the equation of for the futures. As the we all know that electricity is the most efficient energy. Electricity, because almost, I think, all the energy, like fossil fuel, you can say that the other energy, the coal energy, so that's all a 60%, that the maximum efficiency is 40 to 45%, but electricity is almost 95, 98% efficient. So one way is to go for more electrification, and that is already happening. You just see the electric vehicles are coming. Instead of fossil fuel, the electric vehicles are on the place. And mostly, most of the, I think, the stoves in the Europe, all the stoves are now, the electric. So people are going more and more electric day by day. But with this, we need the digital also for efficiency. And because electricity normally is not visible without digitization. And just just this is, just combining this recipe, electricity and digital, we can be able to sustainable, we can achieve that. So this is this is what we can do. I think we just need to save 10 to 15 gigaton of carbon dioxide emission to achieve this 1.5 degree uh, temperature limit. What there is, this these three things is very important for us. One is, as I just told, the more electric, and the electricity should be renewable also. So 45% electricity, if we can convert to the renewable, this is one of the way that we can limit our carbon dioxide emission. And 25% because day by day, I think the circularity, the circular economy is also coming up, more on reuse, more on, the recycle, and more on, the repurpose. That all the things each coming is actually into the picture if you want to save this carbon dioxide emission. And 30% more efficient what we are using our energy now. So if I just coming to the picture in our country, Bangladesh, we can see still, this is the report of December, our generation report. Still, we have only 1% solar, I think, the renewable power generation in Bangladesh. So there is a huge opportunity to increase this renewable, that the resources into our generation. And I think everybody has the idea also that the Mujib, the plan, uh, climate prosperity plan. So our target is to 30% by 2030. But as of today, the progress is not there. But at least there is 10% by 2025 is the target to have this solar and the wind power by 2025. And there is the segments you see, the commercial buildings, hotels, hospitals, industry. These are the opportunities you can see that to save our energy. And almost, from the commercial building, there is an opportunity to save 75% of our energy. So these are some of the inputs what I am just giving now. There is so many ways we can save our energy and we can be more efficient. But one point I just like to ponder here, that if you can save 1 unit of energy, that actually saved 3 to 4 units of the, the from the source. So we, it's not required to put more power plant to be more efficient. It's only required, to be and more efficient in our places, so that, that power plant requirement would be less. So this is one of the important point. And also I just like to say that this is the most cheapest source of energy, which is energy efficiency. Huh? So I already talked about that the only way to save the energy is to see that. So by the digitization, we can be able to just to see the energy consumption so that we can save. So very quickly, what is Schneider sustainable journey? Okay, so as we are the manufacturer, so we have a lot of industries around the world. Huh? So more than 300 plus industry we're concerned. So we have our own experience to, in our ecosystem. We have supply, we have customers. So we are committed to this sustainable journey, and we are committed to the planet also, and we have signed in COP15, that what we will do for our planet by reducing the emission of Schneider. So in our ecosystem, we are experiencing that, and this is the same thing we can be for our partners also, for our customers also. We can utilize this experience to our partners to for their sustainable journey also. Sorry. Hmm? I didn't. I couldn't hear you properly. Hello. Sorry.
No, in that picture of the globe that you showed,
Ah,
I was just wondering what is that red patch?
which one? The right thing.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right part.
No, no, the red color you can see in one patch.
Oh, Rohit, you have an idea? I don't know the red colors. Hmm? Is the heat? Okay. Is the heat basically? Is okay. But the message of this slides is, that there is an ecosystem. We have our own ecosystem which we are committed for the planet to, that to save the carbon dioxide, to limit the carbon dioxide emission. And there's the same thing we can also, that be a partner or be a consultant to our customer to do this. So in order to just that for stand in this carbon pledge, so this is our pledge to the world. Okay, and this is what we have committed that uh, by 2025, our all operation like scope 1 and scope 2 emissions, I think you were aware scope 1 and scope 2 emissions is mostly the directly we are responsible to emit. Okay, and scope 3 is the indirect, that emission that we are doing in the planets. So scope 1 and scope 2, our operation will be completely carbon neutral by 2025. So that is our one of the commitment to the community. And we started work with our suppliers and also the customer, so that we can be net zero by 2030 with our full ecosystem, and by 2050, by almost the net zero carbon dioxide value chain, all of our value chain with the customers, we are committed to be a net zero. So our first steps is to be the carbon neutral by 2025. And in this case, we have one of our commitment to the society that 800 million a ton of carbon dioxide we will be saving by 2025. So with that, this is our purpose of the community, that is to empower all the most of the make the most of our energy and resources. At Schneider, we just call this life is on, and our mission is to be a digital partner for the sustainability and efficiency. So with that, thank you very much, all of you. And if you have any questions, you can ask. No questions. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Zahir Ahmed, the director of Schneider Electric Bangladesh, for his brilliant presentation. And now I'd like to request Mr. Rohit Chashta, Deputy General Manager, Energy Efficiency and Sustainability, Schneider Electric, who will be chairing this session, to come up on stage and take your seat, sir, please. A round of applause for him. We also have Mr. Mostafa Mahmud, Senior Vice President, Bangladesh Solar and Renewable Energy Association, to come up on stage, sir, please, and take your seat. Thank you, sir. We're delighted to have Professor Dr. Khosru Mohammad Salim, Professor, Department of Electrical and Electronic Engineering, School of Engineering, Technology and Sciences at Independent University, Bangladesh. Sir. Thank you, sir. We are delighted to have Mr. Sebastian Groh, the Managing Director at SOLshare Cleantech. A round of applause for Mr. Sebastian Groh. And we also have Mohammad Iftekharul Islam, the Factory Utilities Manager, Savar, BAT BD. With those few words, I would like to humbly request Mr. Rohit Chashta to start this session for all of us. Thank you very much.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. So, good afternoon. Clear. So, thank you, everyone, for being here, and thank you to our esteemed panelists to take some time out and be here for this session as well. Maybe before we get into the discussion, I'll just like to set some context here for the session that we are going ahead with, and it will just be a continuation to what Zahir also mentioned. We have been talking about this whole piece of decarbonization and sustainability, whether it was COP27 recently or the various other events that we had, like New York Climate Week, or I think we are having a lot of these events focused on this whole aspect of climate change now. So everywhere, leaders have been reiterating the fact that climate change is the utmost battle that we have to fight. And the opportunity to change the course on which our world is, it seems to be closing pretty rapidly. So, I would just say one thing on this whole thing, that while, even as Zahir was mentioning, so the main aspect responsible for climate change is the use or consumption of energy. So 80% of that is coming from energy use or consumption. Now, but we have a paradox here. So if you see, on one hand, there are economies which are still developing and which need this whole piece of improving or increasing the energy demand in order to achieve that prosperity that the other industrial nations have achieved. But on the other hand, we also have the need to reduce our emissions. So there is a paradox here, and but and this is something that I always say in various platforms, that I've been talking about this. Energy or even sustainability or the battle against climate change, it cannot come on the cost of progress. We cannot say that there is no needed arbitrage between human progress and climate change mitigation. Actually, there will be no climate change mitigation if it doesn't build on human progress. So that's the whole piece which is coming in. The only thing that we have to focus is that as we go ahead, the energy transition that we go ahead with, whether it is on the efficiency side or the supply side decarbonization, it has to be an inclusive energy transition which takes all developing as well as developed economy on the same line. And I think technology plays a very important role in this whole piece of decarbonization as well. And what good moment then talking about technology. Yesterday, I think we had the Digital Bangladesh Day 2022. And I think the political leadership also talked about making Bangladesh a smart Bangladesh by 2041. So I think no better moment than talking about technology in this whole piece of digitization, and also energy efficiency and climate change. So with that, probably we'll get into the discussion so that we can hear from our panelists in terms of what they have to say. And maybe I'll just start from there. Okay. So, firstly, before getting to the discussion, just a quick round of introduction. So, we have Mr. Mostafa Al Mahmud. He's Senior Vice President for Bangladesh Solar and Renewable Energy Association. We have Mr. Iftekharul Islam on the extreme on the other side, who is basically the facility utilities manager for Savar BAT Bangladesh facility, and of course Mr. Sebastian Groh, and Dr. Khosru from Independent University Bangladesh as well. So maybe I'll start with Mr. Mostafa from your end. Since you have been working a lot with so you're part of the association, I'm sure you have been working a lot with the government agencies or the public sector enterprises also. So just if you can initiate the discussion by giving some idea of how various government or public sector us enterprises have been focusing on this whole idea of decarbonization. Maybe you can give some examples of the actions taken on that line as well.
Thank you very much for your kind information. As I was, we have got a very nice presentation, and already know the how to decarbonization as well as the carbon emission has been take part of the energy efficiency. Actually, I'm the representing of association, Bangladesh Solar and Renewable Energy Association. It is established in 2010 and earlier than SEDA. SEDA has been established in 2012. It got the law, approved by the parliament, which is at least 4 years earlier we have established in the private sector in the association. Actually, from the beginning, association as a private entrepreneurs, we are together, have been discussing that if the in futures, the renewable energy, one of the key issues to reduce the carbon emission. That's why we have working since long with the government sector, and in gradually government has taken the few initiative. As you know, formally the people don't know about the solar much more, but 2009 or 2010 earlier, government has taken the decision at least every single house who build the new house should take in the renewable energy in every house, which is it was very tough to implement the process, but government has taken this kind of initiative to be increase the renewable energy sources. But as this kind of few issues, and then later on the government has taken the part of the to implement the SEDA, which is already playing the very vital role in the private sector, government sector, as well as they are helping the private sector too. As you know, renewable energy is the new sector, usually need financing too tough to from banks and other institutions, and government has taken the part of to it call one of the financial institute, which is the completely government owned. They also take the part of the renewable energy development. That is one of the increase the renewable energy production, which is of course it is a part of the energy efficiency too. Until unless you reduce the energy uses, and then have to go for the the fossil fuel reduce, then can be go for the renewable energy to be increased. That's why I think the government already aware they are increasing the renewable energy, as well as they also focus now in the energy efficiency. And also as today we can inform you that our association in earlier our supposed to be the name Bangladesh Renewable Energy Association, but we mentioned the solar included because of sources of renewable energy in Bangladesh is too less. That's why we focus on that. But already we are going to change the name now, Sustainable and Renewable Energy Association. I think this is also the one of key issue to develop renewable energy to increase in Bangladesh. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mustafa. I think you touched on a very good point in terms of how on one side, while it's important to have renewable energy into picture for basically greening your carbon footprint or your footprint actually, and then of course on the other hand you have to reduce energy use as well to make sure that the percentage share of renewable energy rises in this whole energy landscape or scenario. Maybe from the public sector part we go directly now to the private sector piece, and Mr. Iftekharul Islam, I would like to know from you when it comes to, like, as he mentioned about there are certain things which the government is planning or is thinking to do. From a private sector point of view, since you're managing the facility or the engineering side of BAT, how do you see, firstly, maybe we can start with what are the sustainability objectives or decarbonization objectives that BAT has taken? If you can share some, shed some light on that, and maybe some actions of how you are proceeding to achieve those actions as well, or objectives as well.
Okay, so thank you so much. I'm Iftekharul, engineering manager of Savar factory, BAT Bangladesh. So, just to start the overall discussion, if I can say, do we guys know what is energy is and how it is impacting our life every day? You guys are listening to us, and you are seeing that we are now sitting here in the stage, and we are talking lots of things, but first of all we need to understand that why it is important, what is the call for action right now at this moment. If we want to ensure that the planet needs to be sustainable, we don't fall into, our next generation doesn't fall into water and they drown themselves in the water. So we have to ensure that we are making their lives easier. So how these things are being done in the private sector, if I can give a simple example, in BAT Bangladesh, we are very much sustainable growth organization. We always try to identify the best opportunity in terms of energy uses, in terms of gas uses reduction. So lots of initiative we take on a regular basis and each and every year. So as a part of that journey, we have renewable sources which has been planned this year. Also, we have reduced the and uses of diesel generators in our factory, which is the largest factory within the BAT global. So there are lots of plans in our pipeline to ensure that we do not fall into fossil fuel uses, rather we use the renewable sources. However, in terms of Bangladesh, if you can see what our Zahir bhai has been given us the understanding that in Bangladesh we have around 2% of the renewable sources, which is 1% is hydro and another one is in coming from solar. So this particular thing we need to increase, and we need support from the government side, because otherwise it will not stop the uses of fossil fuels. Because right now at this moment, if you want to have an industry here, you need to use the electricity coming from DESCO, REB, or whatever source you are having right now in Bangladesh. But to ensure that the source is renewable, we have to invest in solar. So from the government point of view, it is very much important that we ensure that the solar projects are being prioritized, like the Podda Setu. So we have to ensure that part is currently being contexted within the government, and they are very much willing to implement it as soon as possible. Otherwise, we can have multiple discussions starting from morning till night, but the end will be like that, we have nothing come out of it. So this is the thing which the government side should look into. And from the private organization, as we are responsible, we need to find out the alternate resources. If we have ample amount of spaces, let's utilize the solar panel installation in the rooftops. If it's not being able to in the rooftop, then why not ground? So these things need to be practiced among the corporate sector so that we can ensure ourselves a sustainable organization. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Iftekharul Islam. So I think, Sebastian, I think this is the right time for you to come into picture. Both the gentlemen have given a perspective of how public sector is looking at this whole piece, how private sector is looking at this whole piece. Now, I think technology will always be a central, sort of role playing aspect in this whole idea of sustainability and decarbonization. So maybe let's start with this first thing of how with what you have been doing, how technology can help businesses in becoming more efficient, more decarbonized, greener, more sustainable. So let's hear from you on that.
Thanks, Rohit. I want to make this very, very specific because I think otherwise we get a little bit lost in the vagueness. And following Iftekhar's example, we are in a university. There are a lot of students, there are a lot of female students I'm seeing. So why not starting with a quick quiz? Anybody knows how many Teslas have been sold globally to date in the whole world? Tesla as the car, the electric car. So here was mentioning the electric cars coming, right? How many in the whole world to date? Any guess? He says 3 million. Do I hear more or less? Less. Yeah, it's about 2 million. Okay. How many electric vehicles does Bangladesh have? Only Bangladesh, not the whole world where the Teslas drive. Only Bangladesh. I hear 2, I hear 5 or 6. Both answers are correct. No, it's 2 or 5 or 6. So 5 million was quoted last week by Dr. Taufik Ilahi, the energy advisor. 2 to 2.5 million is what I read in the gray literature these days, but anywhere between 2 and 5 million. So we have more electric vehicles in Bangladesh than Tesla has sold globally. I just wanted to establish that fact because it's really important, because I want to get you into a thinking perspective that when we now talk about technology, that we don't think, oh yeah, this is something which is happening there in this or that country. No, here. So now let's take those 2 or 5 million vehicles and be very specific. So in terms of decarbonization with an electric vehicle, we don't win much. Why? Because if I charge those electric vehicles with the coal-based electricity mix and the gas-based electricity mix, I don't win much. I win some because I don't have these ugly exhaust, the tailpipe emissions. Like, I don't know when the last time you were a little bit off the main street in Tongi, there are only electric Mishuks and easy bikes. And it's like, the sound there is just, it's like in Back to the Future in the movie, right? It's really, really cool. If you haven't gone recently, please go to Tongi, have a look. It's really cool. Now, if we can manage that the charging station then has a rooftop solar, then we are talking, right? Then we have this decarbonization. Where does the digitalization come in? These 2 to 5 million vehicles, what's happening right now? They all come back to their garage at about 8 p.m. Now, we have my colleague, the professor here, speaking in a moment, he'll probably tell you that at 8 p.m., the grid there's a lot of pressure on the grid. So we need a lot of electricity at that time. And now you have 5 million vehicles start pulling. Not a good thing. So if we can program those vehicles that instead of charging at 8 p.m., they start at midnight, we're doing something, we're shifting the demand. And we are shifting a demand in a way that it is better for our supply situation, because at midnight, it's the super off-peak tariff. So it's also cheaper. Economically, it makes sense. So very simply speaking, just by being able to digitize those vehicles by remotely controlling them, putting an IoT chip into those batteries, and tell those batteries, don't charge at 8 p.m. Start charging at midnight, or start charging at 5 a.m. when we have the super off-peak tariff. I save money, the grid becomes more stable, and everybody wins, because the rickshaw driver has less cost, the garage owner has less cost, and also the government, the power ministry has less concerns. So that's just one, it's not simple, but it's one specific example how we can leverage those 2 to 5 million Bangladeshi Teslas, as Dr. Taufik Ilahi calls them, and he was here at the university and said that actually. How can we leverage those and really make a difference? And that we can do today, not in 20, 30, 40, 50. I'm not a big fan of those talks. I would really see what can we do today, and I pause here for the moment.
So thanks, Sebastian, for that. I think firstly, everyone should go and see Back to Futures after this session. So, okay. So now, again, I think Sebastian also, you have set a very good context that I asked Dr. Khosru on that aspect. So, like, if maybe one thing that I can also summarize with what Sebastian you were mentioning is technology is, of course, there. It has to, we need to start innovating the whole thing. So innovation is basically the need of the moment. And that's where I think what better than academic and research institutes to talk about that whole aspect of, can we have innovation, or can we scale up innovation as soon as possible so that we can start, having these technologies into place for implementation as well. So here, Dr. Khosru, if I can, maybe you can give some light on your basic, heading the Department of Electrical Engineering and Electronics here at the campus. how do you see academic institutes can help in this whole aspect of innovation, or collaborating with various public sector or private sector, making sure that we are scaling up this innovation as well? There is no point in doing R&D in isolation until unless it gives a result. So any thoughts from that angle that you would like to give?
Okay, thank you very much. So before coming to this point, so let me tell you the role of academics here for decarbonization, that means energy efficiency. So I'm just going to share a story of my own. So 22 years ago, when I was a graduate student in Japan, then we are talking about my supervisor, the professor, about the energy consumption of Japan. So he said that this time we are shutting down our old power plant. We don't need electricity. Why you don't need electricity? I am asking. You don't you don't have economic growth? He said, yes, we have, but we don't need electricity. So I'm a little bit curious about that. He said that every year almost they are shutting down some power plant because they have surplus electricity. They are not producing new electricity. They're shutting down, but their economics is growing up. Then he said, the energy efficiency. Because of energy efficiency, they are using energy efficient devices. They give automation for their industries, and that's why they are producing product and they have good growth, but they don't need much electricity. That's why they are shutting down. So it gives me a big impact that efficiency is so important. So they are not, setting up new power plants. They're just shut down their old power plants. So energy efficiency is that much important, that I was a graduate student. So I think the role of academics here in Bangladesh and everywhere, so to make the young students understand about the impact of efficiency, this is very important. And uh, thinking about here in IUB, actually, also we have introduced. It doesn't matter our background, the graduates from business or engineering or liberal arts. Everybody should know about the climate change. Climate change, introduction to climate change. I think the academics have some role to introduce some courses in the foundation level so that students, youngsters know about the change of climates and the energy, environment, efficiency. So we have introduced such course here at IUB for all, fields, the introduction to climate change. And about one thing, whenever we're talking about efficiency, light, we have achieved the efficiency of light because we came to LED. But there are some products. There are, for example, the motors, industrial motors, or the motors we are using every day in our life. They're consuming almost 70% of electricity, only 25 or 30% consumed by light. So there's a huge chance to save energy when we develop technology for the motors. That's similar thing we have developed for LED lights. And that's why nowadays we are seeing that inverter, air conditioner, inverter, refrigerator, built-in inverter, they can save huge amount of energy. So the academics, people, those who are doing some research, they also find out the technology or find out the ways how to. I'm talking, since I'm an electrical engineer, so I'm talking about the electrical domains, right? And here we are doing some research works about energy efficiency at IUB. The first thing we thought that we have a huge garments industry here in Bangladesh, and the garments, every garments industry have a sewing machine. They're using, so millions of sewing machine are used by the garment in the garments. So what can we do for improving their performance efficiency so that they can consume less energy and the production would be the same? So we are doing some research. and survey, and we find out that, and we developed some technology as well, and we find out that if they take some adapt some technologies which is not that much expensive, but they can eventually save 25% of energy, and which equivalent to 70 megawatt power plants, equivalent. So the 70 megawatt power plant you don't need if you adopt this technology. So, and another sector we have find that we are talking about the battery charger, 2 million or 3 million, 5 million electric rickshaw is using in Bangladesh. So most of them are using chargers. It's very inefficient, and there is no control. Very inefficient, less than 70% efficient. We measure in our laboratory, but it is possible to increase the efficiency up to 90%. 95%. The technology is available. Even we can develop it in our laboratory if we can afford give efforts. So we have to find out the different where we can save our energy, where we can reduce the energy consumptions. And about the industrial collaboration. And one more thing, talking about, whenever we are talking about renewable energy, we are always thinking about solar. There are other sorts of energy, I think, here, even in Bangladesh, because, we have a huge rice. Bangladesh is a rice producing country. So rice husk could be a big source of energy, rice husk, which is called the tush in Bangla, tush base, because we have many rice husk, rice milling factory. So rice husk could be another one, and also maybe in future we can also think about the ocean wave, ocean current, because we have limited space. Solar could not be the ultimate source of our green energy. We have to find out other source of energy. And few moments ago, we are talking about the collaboration, because industry, we need collaboration. Academic institution, research organization need collaboration with the industry. Otherwise, after doing research, if some product is, we develop some products, it need to go to the for marketing. It needs to go to the customers. So we are talking about a collaboration just few minutes ago. So hopefully it will be done in the electric vehicle charging related products. So from me, thank you very much. I'm stopping here.
Thank you, Dr. Khosru. So I think you touched a very important aspect of how efficiency can avoid the whole use or maybe the whole making of buildup of new capacity of energy or power generation capacity. Actually, on a very interesting side note, someone once asked me that what according to you is the cleanest source of energy, and I told him energy efficiency. There is no cleaner energy than energy not getting generated at all. So that's, if you look at a source as a source of energy, there cannot be anything more cleaner, or even if you saw in the presentation, there cannot be something more abundant also in terms of potential. I think there is nothing more abundant than how energy efficiency is. And on that note, maybe Mr. Iftekharul Islam, I would just put it across to you, if you can just give a quick snapshot of, since BAT is doing a lot of work in this area, what is the whole piece of some examples of energy efficiency initiatives taken at your facility, along with how technology, whether digitization or some other aspect is being used, along with maybe I think you did highlight some of the challenges in the beginning, but maybe still, if there are any specific roadblocks that businesses face when they're going for this sort of transition, and how can you overcome them? If you can share some points on that.
Thank you. So, in terms of energy efficiency, if you want to drive any energy efficiency, then first of all, you need to know what are the energy sources, what are the things in terms of the equipment, how much energy it is consuming. So, first of all, that needs to be identified. And afterwards, you can go for the efficiency part. So right now at this moment, if I can add one of the projects which we are currently working on, Schneider Electric specifically, it's regarding the overall metering integration and also understanding the what amount of electricity and the air is being consumed from the compressor system, and how much energy we are losing through any unnecessary uses of compressor, and what are the impacts of carbon relevant to this. So this sort of exercise we are going on right now, and this will be implemented into the overall plan of what we have right now in our plan. So through these initiatives we will be able to address the energy efficiency situation, because until you know what are the sources you are consuming, you will not be able to reduce the consumption. So that is the most important thing. Say for example, we are sitting on right now at this moment, so we are seeing that a two side left and right, there are 16 lights in total, it's lighten up. So this is one of the way we can identify that these are the waste of energies, that it doesn't need to be there, however we kept it here. So this is one sort of uh, energy mindset we should grow into, and also ensure that we are also making our life sustainable. So thank you. Anything else?
Sure, sure. So, any challenges that you are seeing in on the like, or in as a business is or as a organization, do you see there are any challenges to go for these projects?
Yep, there is also always challenges in terms of this project, because people are not that much known to these facts in terms of detailed understanding that how these processes are going, and how, what are the relevant actions needs to be taken. Because initially when we have thought out these sort of projects, then the question was coming, yes, we know this is 37 kilowatt of compressor, so it does not take more than that. How can it be? So this predictive maintenance sort of thing, and machinery vibration analysis, lots of things are coming out right now. So these all are being connected with the energy efficiency. So people's understanding the thing should be, because during our university life we didn't get into these things. When we have come into real time problems, we get into the details, and we understood ourselves through different internet sources or different company approaching different companies. But these things should be incorporated within our syllabuses as well. When we are in an university, we should know that what are the challenges we may face in future, and what solution we can get into. So these sort of things we are getting into. But in terms of pricing and everything, that is also another part. Because when we are planning to bring some softwares from abroad, or we want to have some ddc panels like sensors and others, these taxes and everything is so high. So every company will not be able to bring those equipments to ensure the energy efficiency. So they will be trying to bypass it. It's easy as this. So we need to ensure that we are leveraging these efforts of one company to make themselves energy efficient, and government should give more focus on this sort of equipments as well. So thank you.
Okay. No, that's I think you touched on two important points. One is the awareness aspect, which is which is important for this whole piece, and I think that ties very well with Dr. Khosru's point as well. That when we are talking about in college or in academic institutes, that's where the foundation of that awareness can be laid down. And I think a very good aspect that you also mentioned is the whole idea of efficiency is that you can't manage what you don't measure. So that's where the whole thing starts with. If someone asks that I need to reduce my weight, the first question would be, how much do you weigh right now? So that's anyways. But I think the second aspect that you also put very clearly is whether it's cost implications or whether it is some regulatory or policy level support. There is some support from the government that can also be helpful in this whole case. So that's where maybe Mr. Mahmud, I would bring in you in this point. How industry associations, so like as he mentioned, that if there can be some government level support, there can be some policy level intervention, how industry, because industry associations or organization like yours are like a buffer in between, private sector and the government bodies as well, because you're the voice of industry going in front of the government. What do you think can be done in this case, where associations like yours can do certain aspects that can help an energy efficiency or even a decarbonization friendly policies into picture, that can bring that can help problems of these businesses when they're going looking for any policy level intervention?
Thank you so much. Actually, the private sector in Bangladesh always quite ahead, as you know, maybe. But as we know very well, Bangladesh is mostly the import-oriented country. That we don't have the much resources, as well as the maybe some is resources, but it is not useful to the finalization of the final products or the marketing the product, which is Professor has said actually. A few of my friends in the university teachers, the different university, always we have a discussion. Actually, this is one of barrier in Bangladesh. There is some resources, but it is not go to the finally to the market because of the collaboration. Whatever he said, it is very less in Bangladesh, which is one of the key issues about those implementation, the energy efficiency or whatever the automation and everything. Of course, in our an association and like our industry, we would always look forward this kind of opportunities to be private and public and then research to be combined to help each other. Actually, in this moment, what I can say whatever the professor in details he says about the machines of the industries, as well as the energy efficiency of lighting and other sources. It has been, the whatever we are getting the product from the abroad or importing the product, that is going to be implemented. But there if research and the import things on all together can be have the combined, maybe it will be more impact. I think this is individually it is coming on now, and quite awareness has been built in Bangladesh market now. Maybe in future it will be policy will be made to be incorporate each other to be more efficient, more effectively to work in the sector. Thank you so much.
Please, Sebastian.
Can I just directly ask you a question? So SOLshare is a member of BSRIA, and I have a question regarding the policy, and it's decarbonization, not energy efficiency. If I build a 10 megawatt utility scale solar plant, I don't pay duties and I get a tax holiday. If I build the same capacity, 10 megawatt, on let's say 10 rooftops of garment factories, I pay duties and I don't get tax holiday. Why is that?
Actually, that's why I told you there is some of the barriers in the policy making because of still now whatever the growing this sector. I mean the renewable energy or energy efficiency, whatever you said, actually more or less individuals. And it is now quite, say, example, Schneider has been established, and then they're working almost full praises now. But the renewable energy ministry is not there yet. But in India, 1992, they have been established as a ministry. And before yesterday, I have been to the ministry, and they have said the Schneider is asking some of the issues, but the ministry is not doing because the ministry is busy with maybe fossil fuel in the sector or other sectors. This kind of some of the problem still is there, but gradually it's true. The already renewable energy sector, they already reduced the tax and tax holidays. Maybe in those issues also coming on now. In futures, we're expecting private sector and your expertise. I mean the academic as well as the government has been taken the part to be resolved all those issues. I believe too. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all. I think we are on the top of the hour now. So maybe what I'll just summarize.
I would like to announce one thing as today's discussion, as I am the renewable energy sector businessman, and as Professor is concerned, and you have you have resources and the EV car system, EV, and I would like to, my company is very much interested to be cooperate and collaborate with your this projects in as soon as possible to be. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Great. So that's great. We had maybe unofficial, but at least an MOU being signed on the stage as well. So that's great. This is a perfect example of how collaboration looks like. We had a live example in front of everyone. Okay, so I think that's great, superb. And just to conclude, I think Mr. Iftekharul Islam, I think if I summarize your points, it's basically on the lines of that. One is, of course, while you're taking aspirations and plans into picture to become sustainable, become decarbonized and efficient, it's important to do at the ground level to make things happen. And it should not just be a boardroom topic. It should be at a shop floor. Also, it should reflect what we are talking about. And of course, when it comes to efficiency and sustainability, awareness, measuring, monitoring of resources, of use is primary as well. So that's really great in that case. And Sebastian, I think, very rightly mentioned, while technology, electrification, digitization is everything present, but innovation is also the need of the hour. And we need to, and even I would say frugal innovation, not just innovation, but frugal innovation, which is cost effective, because it's for developing countries, whether it's India or it's Bangladesh, it's important that the innovation is cost effective as well. So that's really, I think, something that would go very far. And Dr. Khosru, I think, very well said about the whole idea of how academic institutes can collaborate with various aspects, and certain examples that he provided in terms of how even at college level this whole piece should be embedded into the learning culture as well. And with Mr. Mostafa Mahmud, we are hopeful that the policy barriers will be taken away soon. And next time when Sebastian is meeting you, sir, I think he won't have that question. He would have that query resolved. So let's hope that we are going on a positive route in that case. Quickly, if we have any questions from the audience to any of the panelists, or on the topic, anything, if anyone would like to ask, we have maybe just a minute or two to address that as well. Or I think the session after lunch is always testing. It's the testing hours which are there. Any question that anyone would want to ask? Okay, so I'll generally, when the questions are not I'll be optimistic here, and I'll assume that everyone is crystal clear about everything that was being discussed here. So that's why there is no question, which is great, because that's what the objective of our session was. So thank you all. Thank you to all the panelists, and thank you everyone for being here. Lovely meeting you all, and hope to see you soon.